Hey, are you like me? Are you tired of all the nonsense going on in the world today? The manipulation, the misinformation, the bullshit, the puppeteering, the con jobs. Yeah, that's the world we're living in right now. And a guy like me who's not a smart man, let's just face it, I'm pretty dumb. I've done stupid shit. I own it. I'm a comedian, a fuck up. But one thing I do have is a good bullshit detector that I've relied on for a very long time. So I often speak my mind, and it doesn't serve me well. I've never been somewhat of a follower. I always kind of took my own opinions and went with it. And sometimes those opinions aren't popular. It's not a part of the narrative. It's not a part of the group or the herd mentality. It's gotten me in some trouble. But I can't fake it. I can't become this thing. I can't follow. So I have to voice my opinion, and I do it on my podcast, but more importantly, I do it on my Patreon. Every single Monday, I do a podcast with comedian, broadcaster Tony Mazur, where we just let it out. We talk, and we point out the hypocrisy, the bullshit, the nonsense. And we do it on Patreon because everyone's getting censored, deplatformed, and it's the best place to do it. And we could talk a lot of shit, and it's fun, and it's refreshing. In this day and age, it's very refreshing to talk openly and honestly and call out the nonsense. So, for as little as $3 a month, that's it. You could sign up to my Patreon, patreon.com/chadzumock. It's in the description. You can just click on the link. For as little as $3, that's it. And you can hear these podcasts that you're about to hear today every Monday on Patreon. So thank you for your continued support for all the Patreons that are signed up already. And today is the podcast we did this Monday. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a 5-star review on the iTunes, or leave I don't care. Just type some shit in there. I want to get up the charts. I want to take down 2 Bears, 1 Cave. Enjoy today's episode. I am Florida's greatest comedian. I'm with me, as always, the great Tony Mazur.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Steering the ship in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah, we were a little late today because we were going to do noon when we're recording, and you were too busy with Godfrey.
I feel bad because I swear to God, like I just forgot the time, and then I saw
That's
your.
okay.
Yeah, he jumped on the live, and we're having a good conversation, and I was just like, fuck. But I know you're at work. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's all right. I pretended to do a bunch of work today anyways. So isn't that nice? It's always the classic case when you have a real job like you go into an office, and we kind of proved that with the pandemic of being at home is that there's a lot of nothing you do at work, but you have to look busy. You play video games on your computer as long as it looks like you're doing something. It's the George Costanza thing on Seinfeld, where if you look annoyed, people leave you alone because they think you're really busy.
Well, Bo, I
can do something.
When I was in radio, Bo Matthews, my old program director, Alex Gutierrez, was the king of that. And it got to be a game where Charlie from Rover Show and we would try to bust him not doing shit in his office. And every single time we kind of went in there, he was always working on alexangelo.com.
Oh, yeah. my old program director, Andy Roth, over at 92.3 The Fan, he would spend his entire days writing stupid promos. So say, for example, today's January 31st. It's my 8 years of doing stand-up comedy, by the way. It's my anniversary. And Barry Ribs, by the way, today, too. we share a stand-up anniversary. But so it's January 31st, and the Bengals are in the Super Bowl against the Rams. So Andy Roth would sit there in his office. I'm sure he's probably doing it as we speak right now. He would sit there going, the Bengals are going. So he would have the promo for the voiceover guy. And it would say, the Bengals are heading to the Super Bowl, their third trip, but the Browns are still waiting for their first one. Is Ohio going to get behind Joe Burrow? And what will this mean for Baker Mayfield? Tune in to 92.3 The Fan and the Bull and the Fox, 2 to 7 on 92.3 The Fan. I mean, like, that's what he would do all day, is these stupid promos that mean absolutely nothing, but he liked timely promos. It really is. I'm just going to say it, retarded.
Yeah. Well, at least he was doing something work related, unlike my program director who was working on his son's career in music.
How's that taken off?
Puberty fucked him over. Fortunately, he went from cute kid to he kind of looks like a lesbian now, and that's not marketable.
Is he trans? Maybe that's what'll happen. Maybe he could be like a trans EDM star.
I guarantee probably Bo brought that up at one point because he's such a follower. He's like, did you ever think about going trans? Well, I'm straight. No, but you should try it. Anyways.
Wow.
I got to tell you about my stand-up show yesterday, and I just want your feedback on.
Okay.
So, as you know, the week before I got punched in the face.
I do know this. Yes.
Yeah. So we talked about that. So I was like, I'm taking the week off. Kyle Grooms, funny comic out of Miami, wanted me to do a spot. I'm like, I'm good. Calta wanted me to do headline this. I was like, I'm good. I can't. So this Sunday show was coming up, and it's over in Punta Gorda, which is by Port Charlotte, which is near Northport, where Gabby and Brian Laundrie lived, and now they're dead. Anyways, it's a one-nighter. It's at a restaurant. I'm like, all right, the money's okay. It's not bad. It's quick cash. I call them cash grabs. And the promoter's like on me to promote it. So I promote it. Of course, no one came from me. They don't care. I show up and everyone's eating dinner. Like it's like a legit full on meals. And I'm like, okay, well, at least they're calm. They're not drunk, but they're going to suck because they're all eating.
It's dinner theater. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing like when you're telling a joke and you hear the clinking of the glasses and the knife on the plate when they're trying to cut a steak.
I still remember hosting at the Dayton Funny Bone, the dinner show. I forgot who I was with. And it was the 6 o'clock show. And everyone in the front row, it was crazy. They were all eating steak and ching, ching, ching. And they're chewing. And I'm the first guy up to host. And I just lay the biggest fucking fat one because they're eating and watching you like you're a play. There's no like laughter. There's no like interaction. It's cut, steak, chew, watch.
Oh yeah, and it's like the taco place. So I have a tortilla chip, and I would bomb frequently when I would be at these stupid hipster taco places, and it would just be like I tell my joke, here's the punchline, and all of you sudden you hear this.
Oh,
I'm like, hey, at least you're giving me something. It's better than silence, right?
Yeah,
you're bombing when you hear everybody crunching their chips into their salsa.
So anyways, I get there and the promoter guy, nice enough dude. He's pretty green. He's only been doing stand-up for a year. And, he's booking this room. And the feature guy, Sean Harper, who I've worked with before, funny dude. He's funny. And the host goes up, the promoter does like 10 minutes and lays an egg. Like, I mean, you can tell he's not that strong of a comic. That's fine. You only been doing it a year. I understand. But I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Very quiet. And then Sean gets up there and it's real hit and miss. Like, cause he'll get him and then lose. He'll get him and then lose him. He'll get him and then lose him. I'm like, okay, at least there's something there. And I made a game plan. I'm going at him. I'm just going to go offense. I'm going to get in their faces. And I get up and I'm not joking. For the first 20 minutes, I'm murdering applause breaks, laughter. I mean, they came out of their shells. They broke open, and I was like, okay, this is fun. And then I decided I'm going to get a little cocky. Even though I haven't been on stage in a week, I'm going to try this new joke out that I thought about in the car. I've been thinking about. I think it's pretty funny. I had a premise of this couple celebrating their 73rd wedding anniversary. And you know where they met?
Where at?
I read an article in the New York Post, a concentration camp.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, that's a weird story how Grandma and Grandpa, how'd you guys meet? Oh, well, it's funny shit.
We met at camp.
It was a classic love story. I was in the shower. I saw her across the way, hungry, beaten. And meanwhile, our friends were being gassed. And I said, you know what? That's the one. And I had a whole bunch of like little tags and weird things like that.
We got matching tattoos.
After our nightly beating, we used to get together and keep each other warm. So I was going like, all these weird directions. And I swear to God, as soon as I get into it, the room fucking goes silent. And I'm like, holy fuck, they're not with me. And first time telling this joke and I don't know where I'm going. And this is weird. And I go, yeah, I'm going to bail on this joke. This is weird. And I couldn't get them back after that.
Oh, really? Well, hey, at least you got 20 minutes out of them though.
Yeah. And
it's better than starting with that and then just eating your balls the entire time.
Yeah. But I even admitted I'm tapping out of this joke. It's brand new. And I can tell you're not with it. Needs a lot of work. It may never be seen again. I don't know. And then I couldn't get him back. And after the show, the promoter guy comes up and he's like, dude, yeah, hey, listen, we're having a issue here. I go, what do you mean? What's the issue? Pay me my $250 because that's what it was. He's like, yeah, he kind of wants to dock your pay. I go, what? He's like, yeah, he's not happy with that Holocaust joke. He goes, about 75% of this room is Jewish. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, it's a touchy subject. And he started naming these statistics, people in Punta Gorda. And, there's a lot of military.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jews in Florida. That's where they go.
Yeah. And I go, yeah, it was a joke. He goes, yeah, he didn't find it funny. I was like, you can't dock my pay. You have to.
Yeah.
And I go, I was talking about rape up there. I was talking about, all kinds of shit. Like, I can't help that they were sensitive on the concentration camp. He goes, yeah, but he's not cool. I was like, let me talk to this dude. And he comes in, he's like, yeah, bro. Yes. And you were great at first, but I can't. Yeah. So you're taking $50 out of the $250 you promised me. I go, no, you're going to give me all my money. He's like, well, you're going to have to apologize to the table. And I'm like, I am not doing that. And he's like, I go, I took a chance. That's what we do. And he goes, yeah, but you're in the big leagues now. And I go, you think this is the big leagues, $250? I go, I'm doing this on a Sunday because I said I would. I get paid way more than this. And you're telling me to go apologize for something. I was just trying to be funny. He's like, I don't find the Holocaust funny. I was like, well, there's a lot of things people don't find funny, but give me my fucking money. He goes, yeah, you're not going to come back here. I'm like, good. I'm glad. And he goes, you got a terrible attitude. He goes, good luck in this business. I was like, I've been doing it for 18 years, cunt. And I left.
What a fucking, oh God.
He was going to dock $50 for a Holocaust joke.
Does he not understand $250 for a show really isn't that?
It's not that good.
No, oh God, there's a lot to take in with that. Because again, you're talking about rape on stage.
Yeah.
You have rape jokes, you have this and that, and you're doing well, but somebody takes
I talk about OJ murdering his wife on stage. I do a joke about that. But
yeah, this is where the problem is, where now we finally have people who are emboldened enough to start affecting comedy. Because remember a couple of years ago when you started hearing about people getting banned on social media, that and the way you were able to get out of it is like, okay, whatever happens on a comedy stage, it's just anything goes. It's not the case anymore. Now people are getting offended and they see other people, how it's become sport to be offended about something. Okay, you made a Holocaust joke. Okay, maybe it didn't work out. It's the Patrice O'Neal thing I always mention, that a good joke and a bad joke come from the same place. And that's the attempt at trying to be funny. Yeah. You're not going up there. You're not saying the Holocaust was a good idea. You're not saying, what's the one joke I just heard the other day that said, what's the difference between the Holocaust and the fat underneath a woman's arm right here? It's, you can at least joke about the Holocaust.
That's funny.
So it's, again, by joking, this is the problem that we have had for a couple of years now. It's been several years, but especially recently, because this is where we thought all the woke stuff might be starting to go away with COVID. And instead it's emboldened and enabled more people to be offended. That you make a joke like that. Now people find currency in trying to be offended by that. You can hear a joke. Okay, here's the thing. I'm Catholic. Do you know how many Catholic priest rape jokes I've heard in my life?
Yeah.
Too many to name. But I was an altar boy. I was not molested. None of my priests thought I was funny. It must have been the braces. I don't know. but I've heard it and I just go, oh, great. Another Catholic priest joke. Wow. I haven't heard that one before. And then you move on.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, it's just, people really get it. They get their jollies out of it. They really get a kick. And it really is, it's for clout, and it's a sport that people are getting offended by this.
Yeah. And it was an old room. They're going good. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, the energy and air that was sucked out of that room when I just brought it up was, I've never experienced anything like where they just were all off. I've been doing it for 18 years now. I've never felt a room just suck out the energy like that, just by the bringing it up. And I knew there were Jews there. Like I took a chance. That's what you do. You take something weird, something edgy, and you try to make it funny. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to make the Holocaust, this couple who's been together for 73 years, funny, because you got to admit, kind of a weird place to find true love. Concentration camp. I'm just saying.
You can't make jokes about anything now where, I mean, this is where, when you talk about that cultural appropriation. So yeah, let's say you get to, this was a thing, I think, in Portland. There were two women went on vacation to Mexico, and they loved the food so much that they started their own food truck. And it was a Mexican food truck. And they got death threats because how dare you appropriate Mexican culture because you're two white ladies. And then, so now you can't do anything to quote unquote appropriate somebody else's culture, when in reality, you're not appropriating anything. You're just celebrating it. So you can't celebrate. And now you can't even talk. This is where, when we just mentioned about, we need to have a conversation about these things. Well, part of that conversation is understanding that there are certain things we can joke about, that there are certain things in life that we can, I mean, how many Mel Brooks movies? Here's the thing. This is what it is. Mel Brooks, in every single movie he does Nazi jokes and Holocaust jokes. But why is it okay that Mel Brooks can do it? Because he's Jewish. But Chad-Zumock, who's not Jewish, can't talk about it. When in reality, it's like, look, we're all white people here. By me joking does not mean that I want to see all Jews, the Holocaust part 2, you know, or doing the Geno joke where they said there were 6 million Jews that were killed. Sure, if you're an optimist. Yeah. See, it's a joke, but we just thrown context out the window. That's why you're almost better off going on stage, just doing 45 minutes of dick jokes, collect your check, and go home.
Yeah, and then a couple of things I forgot to say. He said, "Yeah, you had a lot of balls doing that." He goes, "Would you have done that in New York City?" I go, "Yeah, I would. I don't apologize for trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to be malicious." He's like, "Well, there's some things you don't joke about." I'm like, "I don't believe in that. I think you can joke about anything, dude." And as I leave, I got my money, and the booker guy was texting me. He's like, "Well, dude, I'm sorry about that, but why'd you have to call him a cunt? This is my room." I go, "You're gonna find out real quick if you keep doing this thing," because he's only been doing it a year. That these people come and go, and clubs will come and go. There's a local club. I'm not going to name it. It's not Side Splitters or the Improv. They won't book me anymore. I don't know why, but it happens. It's going to happen. So you guys got to cross them off the list. Like, sorry, just not going to work out.
You can't please everybody.
No, you can't.
I mean, and here's the other thing. It's one thing if you're an open mic comic who's been doing stand-up for 3 months and you come out with a Holocaust joke that you think is really funny. Again, coming from the same place, but you've been in the business long enough to know what works, what won't work. You can read the audience. You can feel that, like you said, you were getting cocky because you felt that you had a great 20 minutes that, hey, maybe we can take go into this direction. Hey, we're going to make a left here. How's that sound? You've been doing it long enough to be savvy enough to know what you're getting yourself into, and you know how to pull yourself back from it. Now, this was a case where you weren't able to pull yourself out of it. But
I mean, I didn't. I was trying to start a car that wouldn't start. Like, they would come back and then they'd go out. They come back and go out. Come back and go out. And I was like, okay, they're not coming back. So let's just wrap this thing up. I wrapped it up at the 35 mark because it was just like, I could go into this long bit, but you're not feeling me. You can't let go and you can't move forward. And it is what it is. And like you said, like to their defense, it wasn't funny. I didn't pull it off. I had an idea. I didn't execute it and I bailed. So
it's okay. I mean, it happens. And they're going to say, well, would you make black jokes in a black club? Yeah, absolutely. And I've done it before. And, it depends on the audience, because sometimes there's black audiences that will really give it up, and they love the fact that a white guy is going to have balls and say whatever he wants on stage. But I don't know about anymore. I mean, if we're seeing older Jewish people getting offended by Holocaust jokes that, well, I knew somebody who died. My grandfather was in it. Yeah, so is a lot of people's grandfathers. And again, this isn't diminishing what happened, but I mean, you just, and again, there's also tact too. We make fun of the Michael Richards thing over and over again. There was no joke there. Yeah. It was just him on pills ranting and saying racist things. If he was able to be funny about it, then, and again, an attempt to be funny. There was no attempt to be funny.
Those words.
Words hurt. God. I mean, this really is, I honestly feel bad for people that are trying to go out on the road and trying to come up with new material, because there's going to be just so many dick jokes. You can't even get political on stage, depending on your audience. Now, unless you have an audience, that kind of segues to me talking about the Dave Landau weekend this weekend. Dave was at the Funny Stop.
Oh, was he just there?
He was just there. Had a great conversation with him. Talked to him for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Really?
And talked about everything, including, and I won't get into talking about it, but talked a lot of Kevin Brennan stuff. But he does two. He does. Yeah, exactly. I should have. Well, we mentioned that about the hiding a phone with the recorder at Comedy Club. We did mention that.
Oh, should we cut that part out?
Cut all of it out. And so I've been doing shows with Dave. You've probably done shows at that exact club with Dave for 15 years now.
Back when he was a drunk.
Yeah. I've done shows with Dave on Tuesday night. This is when the Funny Stop was booking comics Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tuesday was the amateur night.
And so, by the way, before I interrupt, just give you how long I've been doing shows. When I guest hosted WNIR when I was being considered for the job, Dave Landau was the comic in that Friday. So he sat in with me doing radio at that shitty WNIR.
Mm-hmm. It's just like the whole wall looks like corkboard and everything. Yeah. It's just terrible. And so I would go do the amateur night when I was in the contest, when I was just starting out. So 8 years ago now. And Dave he had just gotten on national TV, but he was also doing a lot of spots here. So Pete would bring him in for that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it'd be one show Tuesday, one show Wednesday, one show Thursday, and then 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. And depending on who the act is, he might even ask you to do Sunday. So Dave is in front of like 8 people on a Tuesday for the amateur night, just to do 15, 20 minutes as they start to realize who is going to win and move on in the amateur contest. And he's doing a check spot. You've done it before.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's just like, why am I here? There's 6 people in the audience and they're counting. And the people are just concerned about who's tallying, who's going to win in the amateur contest. And Dave had to do that. So fast forward now to 2022, that club that Dave was one of the first places that put him up there to headline, line out the door to see him, line out the door to meet him afterward. He is taking photos. You have Let's Go Brandon t-shirts. You have just everybody was so excited. Steven Crowder shirts. And it was so nice to see somebody who has been slaving away in this business and had to deal with a lot of bullshit from whether it's other comics, club owners, his own demons from alcohol and drug use in the past.
While supporting a family.
And here he is at the club that he's been performing at for almost 20 years now. And he's killing it. He murdered on stage. And by the way,
and he gets that celebrity pop too when he comes to the stage. Like when he was I was like, holy shit, that's the celebrity pop that I heard Tim Dillon get it down in Side Splitters. It's the same celebrity pop I heard when I brought Chris Rock to the stage. It's like, we know you. And that's a different type of audience when they know you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Dave can do political stuff on stage a little bit. And Dave's not a political guy, but he also sees, he's kind of like you, that you guys aren't conservatives. You're not Republicans. You're not going up there like, wow, look at all the Republicans I voted for in the past, because there is no list. But you're sick of the bullshit. And that's what Dave is doing right now on Crowder. And the people that are in that audience they're loving it. So he'll throw a couple of political things and then go back to a lot of his material, but he's not overly preachy. Like, you can actually be a far left-wing person still watch Dave Landau. He just throws a couple of Biden, like the Biden's has dementia, shitting his pants and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And
I did a joke. It was just like a quick little thing. I said, it's 2022 or 21 or whatever the time was. I was with Dave. I go, you can just lie. It doesn't matter. You don't need formal education. Just make shit up. And I do a joke. Like, I told the guy the other day, I was a dentist. Why not? He's not going to ask for a root canal. And if he does, I'll just schedule him in advance. And then I say, Hillary Clinton's calling herself a podcaster now. I go, 7 years ago, she was a murderer, and the place go crazy. I'm like, okay, this is fun audience.
But you have to know the audience. Like, I do one where I say, like, for example, I said today's my 8-year anniversary of doing comedy. So my comedy career is 8 years old, which is old enough to be fingered by Joe Biden. So, stupid, easy, quick joke just to cut. But it's what it is it's an audience gauger.
Oh, did you do a guest spot?
No, there was too many people there. I mean, I've never seen, except for when Pauly Shore was there, I've never seen packed all the way to the back and standing room only at the Funny Stuff.
I know, man. It's
never seen that. And that's why
so when
I'm
Kevin
so
was saying he
Dave.
doesn't sell tickets, he's such a fucking dummy and such a liar. I mean, he's packing clubs. That's why he's working every fucking weekend, because he's packing the clubs.
He addressed that where he said something along the lines of that was more misinformation about him not packing that club in Tampa or Orlando or whatever it was. Because he's like, I didn't even need a deal for that, and that club was sold out and packed that weekend. So it was just really good to see somebody in the business who's been doing it for that long and getting rewarded for it.
And he's humble about it. He realizes the grind, and he's just like, I realize where I'm at now, and I'm not taking it for granted. And I he's still the same dude.
Yeah, it was nice to see. So what
else you guys talk about?
Oh God. Well, we talked about Compound.
He just threw me a couple gigs in November that pay very handsomely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we talked a little bit about Compound and everything that was going on with how that's going and the uncertainty of when Cumia ends up moving to South Carolina at some point. We don't know when that is, but just a lot of that was there was a lot of stuff I didn't. The only reason I don't want to mention is I kind of told him, he was like confiding in me certain things, but
we talk about some stuff. He's like, let's keep it off the record. And I know the trolls, like, I know you guys want to hear that shit, but sometimes you just can't. It's just,
that's what's interesting about our podcast here that we do is that what we're talking about right now is exactly how our phone calls were. That's why you're like, hey, why don't we just do like a weekly podcast about this? The only thing that we don't mention on this podcast we do on the phone is we drop a lot of names of people that nobody gives a shit who they are. True. So like we'll talk about a local Cleveland comic that like we'll mention Steve Mers or Ryan DePerna, and everyone who what? I'm like, exactly. It's just way too inside.
Who and what is perfect for those names.
Yeah, that no one cares. Jeremy Shear. Although I did see Kirk Bogus over the weekend.
Speaking of it, quit dropping names already.
Yeah, Kirk Bogus. He still kind of owns a comedy club, but it's one of those floating ones where you just put it in the reception area of a hotel.
And you just move the sign of the club to the hotel from the other venue. Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't you say that Kirk Bogus, when he owned that club, that he would host and he would do headlining sets to host?
Oh, no, he would middle. No, he'll do a guest set and do like 40 minutes. It was crazy. It was ridiculous. Because I remember Ryan Dalton and I was featuring for Ryan, and he was on the Maxwell show at the time. And he actually had the most people out at Kirk's club. Like, he packed it out. So Kirk was like, holy shit, an audience. I'm going to go up there and do 45.
That's actually, that was another thing Dave told me about, that he had him when Dave was a huge drunk, that Kirk would have him over at Bogey's Comedy Club. And he said that it was maybe between shows or whatever it was. And Dave said he got so blackout drunk, he wakes up the next day in the hotel that he had no idea how he even got there. And Kirk said, boy, what you did on stage last night, I've never seen anybody kill that hard doing crowd work. And Dave had no idea because he was so drunk from it. He's like, I know. He's like, it was the funniest thing anyone's ever seen. You're the best crowd work. I mean, it was it was that good. And Dave's like, I don't remember one bit of it.
Yeah. So can you tell me this? Because I forgot to ask Dave, is he still have his house in Michigan?
I think he does still have them. Yeah. And he is still married, by the way.
I know. Did he hear about that rumor too?
Oh yeah. He said all of them. He's like, yeah, apparently it was news to me that my wife left me, or that, just like Ken Mosca,
Oh yeah. Cheating on his wife.
Ken's cheating on his wife, and he has a fiance now too. But
I mean, it's amazing how much Kevin's lying. It's just lie after lie after lie. It's just like, you're going to lose your audience, man. And because he's not walking the walk anymore. He's not fighting Gary Goldman. He's not going and he's just sitting in his apartment, making up lies at this point. It's like, enough's enough, dude.
Well, and the big thing about if he goes back to Compound is they've already, let's be honest. You saw the lineup change, right? On Compound.
I did.
They dropped they dropped a fair one. They've dropped Talib Starks' show. They dropped
by the way,
Dave.
I wasn't aware of any of those shows except Eastside Dave.
Oh yes. Yeah, I know. They kept Crime Report. They kept a couple of shows, but it almost seemed like they were making room for, but they can't have him on Mondays because you still have Chrissy Mayer's show, and Chrissy and Kevin don't like each other. So that's oil and water anyways. So it's just going to be really
before you go forward. What's the dump in TBD? What are those shows?
TBD that's Garrett and Pat Dixon do a weekly show. And then the dump is one of the In Hot Water producers who does like a 15-minute podcast on his toilet.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. I don't get it. It's basically the In Hot Water pre-show.
And you can't put Kevin on Fridays because E-Rock has a show on Friday. So, yeah, I think, okay, this is my honest opinion. It's not even personal at this point. It's just the Kevin, I was just talking about this on my Instagram Live with Godfrey. Everything kind of has a moment in time, whether it's podcasts, radio, movies, bands that we like. You have a good run. Like the Foo Fighters had a good run, but their last album sucked balls.
Several albums.
Yeah, several albums sucked balls. It's just like everything is a snapshot in time, a good memory, and you're always going to compare that good memory to something. I could say the same about Kevin's Burning Bridges. That was a moment in time. It happened. It was great. He had some good stuff going. But if you try to recreate it now, with Kevin lying all the time, it's just like, and no one's coming on. So there's no upside to it. And how many subscribers are you going to bring at this point? Yeah,
you're plateauing at that point. And that's where I was talking to Dave about, and we've mentioned it a bunch of times on this podcast, is you still have to put some kind of free content out there. You can't just put out an Owen Benjamin episode and say, hey, look, we have a free episode, but the rest of it you're going to have to pay for. You got to tease people you got to give them some reason to subscribe. Now, yeah, you're going to get a lot more people checking out the free show than the paid show, but you hope that it's kind of like a billboard. So if you put a billboard on the side of the freeway, for example, my radio station, 107.3 Alternative Cleveland, if we put a billboard up on 480, and let's say on 480, 50,000 people are driving and they look up at that billboard. What are the odds that 50,000 people are going to go, ooh, radio station, and they turn it on at that moment? Probably minuscule, but you take what you can get at that point. Yeah. So if you're somebody who puts out content, give them something free. And let's say you have 500 people who listen to a free podcast. How many of them are going to go over and pay for it? A couple, but hey, it's a couple. It's what you have to do. You can't just expect that you're going to not only do free content or no free content, but you're also going to have people charge them for $20 a month. It just can't happen. Can't happen like that.
Well, let me ask you this. Should we put this one out for free? I know you're a new program director. Or should we just wait?
Yeah, I only said retarded once.
Yeah. And I said cunt.
But in context, what you were doing is you were quoting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put it out as a nice little end of the month gift for free.
So speaking of that, so very, very, very good segue. So now I did a podcast today talking about the Joe Rogan situation, and you're seeing
who? Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. You might have heard of him. He was in a show called Hardball back in the mid-90s. Joe Rogan is now, you have Joni Mitchell, you have Neil Young, Nils Lofgren, and I think several other people are now starting to say, yeah, well, I'm not comfortable about having my content on Spotify where they're giving a platform to mis and disinformation.
Yeah.
And of course, as we talked about it the other day, it's all bullshit because they're pulling out because they don't get the kind of royalties that they would have in the past.
And by the way, I just found out they're both Canadian.
Oh yeah.
I forget. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course they're both Canadian. And so you have all this.
No offense, Joe Exotic.
Yes, exactly. Joe Exotic or what other Canadian listener? Oh, was Smokey, I think, is Canadian, and Aaron Berg, of course.
Of course.
But there's a real disconnect that's going on right now because the biggest thing with this boycott, which is not really a it's such a boomer boycott. We're like, it's such slacktivism. It's the same thing as putting a rainbow flag in June saying like, I support the trans and LGBTQ movement. Okay, good for you. What are you going to do about it besides putting a flag up? It's such slacktivism. But this whole thing is it's such a dumb argument by saying this misinformation that Joe Rogan's putting out there. He's not putting out misinformation. And it's the same thing that happened 30 years ago with Rush Limbaugh. Those same people that said, oh, that Rush Limbaugh is a racist, he's a bigot, he's a blowhard. And the response would be, well, have you ever listened to him? No, but I mean, I heard a couple of clips, but he's just a blowhard. And then the follow-up is, yeah, but have you listened to him? Joe Rogan's podcast is one day he'll have somebody like Dr. Malone talking, who's the creator of the mRNA vaccines. Then the next day he has Ari Shaffir talking about trying to suck his own dick. That's the beauty of the Joe Rogan podcast, is that it can be anything. It's not he's not certainly not right wing, and it can be about anything. What do we have here?
I have a background up. I just wanted to add a little element.
Oh, I love that. Michael Vick and a dog. That's who. So Joe Rogan's the dog in this situation, and the media is Michael Vick, who claims he's the victim.
Okay, if you want to go down that road, I'm with you.
I like that.
No, I talked about it on my live a little bit. Rogan is under attack, like literally under attack, and he had to say something because I believe what he's saying. I don't think he ever realized he was going to be the biggest program, the biggest platform, influenced, and he's just like, what the fuck? Like Neil Young doesn't want, so he had to just calm everyone the fuck down. So I understand where he's at, but I would rather say, fuck you, Neil Young, go fuck yourself. But I understand he's in a weird position.
I get it too. And Spotify is in a situation where their secret, Spotify loves this publicity. There are more people probably than ever now.
100%.
Just because of Rogan. But you can't have a CEO of Spotify come out and say, hey, gosh, I got to say, even though it's controversial, but controversy sells, right? And we're firmly behind Joe Rogan. We may not always agree with him on certain things that he says and does on his podcast. But I mean, see, here's the thing is Joe already capitulated at the beginning by not posting his entire archive of shows. He took a couple of shows with like Alex Jones and Gavin McInnes and others that were off of there. So he already capitulated a little bit. I get it. You're signing $100 million deal with Spotify, an exclusive deal. However, you also have these woke morons that work for Spotify that say, oh, I can't be working here because he's a transphobe. It was 2 years ago today, by the way, was when Rogan got into more controversy because he said on his podcast that if there's anyone I would vote for in this election here in 2020, probably be Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders could not say, oh, thank you for your endorsement. I appreciate it, Joe Rogan. He said, I denounce the endorsement from Joe Rogan because he's a transphobe. And he's a transphobe because he said that Fallon Fox, the UFC fighter, who's a biological man, should not be out there beating the shit out of women. Controversial take. So
sure.
A biological man who's facing a woman. By the way, this is probably going to get banned from Spotify too, but I don't care. Yeah. I mean, is
there a bigger bitch than Joe Biden? I mean, he's bitched out so many times.
Yeah. Well, Joe Biden, oh God, Jesus Christ, Joe Biden. See, Nate Silver from the 538 brought this up, I think 2 weeks ago. He said, Joe Biden is who he is. He's a guy that he goes where the left is. And you think about where he was 25, 30 years ago, the mainstream of the Democrat Party was very tough on crime. That's why you had the 1994 crime bill. That's why, there were all these quotes about him talking about doesn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle, different contexts and everything. But as the left continued moving left, so did Joe Biden, because that's who he is. He's just a Democrat, and he goes which way the wind blows. And when you see that the left, that Democrats are far left when it comes to the AOCs and the Ilhan Omars and Bernie Sanders, as opposed to the more moderate wing, that's where Biden goes. So he's like, oh, well, I guess vaccine mandate. Okay, that's what my party wants, so that's what I want. Yeah, you're right. He's the biggest bitch of a politician, and that's why his numbers suck, because nobody likes Joe Biden.
I know. I mean, I love that people are, even on the left, are turning on him. I mean, they're just like, okay, we got sold a bill of goods. This guy's garbage.
Yeah, all it was Joe Biden got elected for mainly one main reason, and that was because the media convinced the people, and when I say people, white suburban women, that Donald Trump caused the pandemic to spiral out of control because he didn't promote masks enough at the beginning. He didn't take it serious enough. But Joe Biden is taking it seriously, and he's a kindly, friendly, grandfatherly figure, instead of being just a fucking asshole that he had been for 5 decades in Congress.
Are we going to get demonetized on YouTube for this?
Well, if you need money, I'll throw a couple of bucks at you. I'll throw in a Bob's Big Boy gift card for you.
Yeah, because I mean, we're just saying our opinions, and now people are going to get butthurt, and they're going to like, this can't be out there. Why are they saying this?
See, this is, I think a lot of people, there is a way for people to have conversations, these kind of conversations, and people like them. People like these. The problem is it's the suppression of these conversations that I don't care. I would love to have a conversation. You know what I would ultimately love? I would love Joe Rogan to have a podcast with Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci, just so they can clear things up, hash things out. Dr. Fauci, this is what you said about gain of function in the Wuhan lab, and Dr. Paul, you're misrepresenting what I'm saying, and this and that. I want to see that on a podcast because it gets people talking and together. But
why can't they have that? Why they just want to control the narrative in their echo chamber?
Yes. Well, yeah. So I mean, think about right after Rogan got COVID. Rogan talks to one of his doctors, talks about ivermectin and a cocktail of other things. Then so CNN puts that thing out where it looks like he's gravely ill, where they discolored his face, and they said he was taking horse dewormer. And I got to say kudos to Dr. Sanjay Gupta for going on there. And Rogan just bitch slapped him the entire time by saying, your network said I was taking horse medicine. That's bullshit. I was not doing that. I'm a healthy guy. No, I'm not vaccinated. I just had COVID. It's okay. And, credit to Gupta, who kind of sat through that barrage that was happening. But that's exactly why they're not going to go on there, because they don't want any tough questions. Why doesn't Fauci or Rochelle Walensky from the CDC go on with Tucker Carlson? It's not because, Tucker. So this is what they have to say. Tucker and Rogan and all these others, they're spreading misinformation. No, they know they're not going to get softball questions. I mean, Walensky this is 100% true. It came out that she is getting a media coach on how to properly do interviews. So right after, she goes on Brett Baer's show a couple of weeks ago on Fox News, who's in for Chris Wallace doing the Sunday show. And she basically had to admit that, the people who are dying of COVID had 4 or more comorbidities. And it just came out that, oh, wow, and then it was after the Supreme Court justice said that there is over 100,000 kids on ventilators right now. And the answer is closer to about 3,000. And that's probably not even accurate. It's probably not even half that. So that's when you talk about the misinformation and why they're not doing these shows.
And look
they're
what
not
I
doing
did.
the shows because they're going to get tough questions.
I went on Kumia where they were shitting on me, and I went on there like a fucking man. And defended myself on the phone. Why I have 2 guys in studio and I'm fighting back because I'm not a pussy.
See, it happened a couple of years ago when you start seeing like Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson that would go up in front of these leftists. Or I remember a classic one was Gavin McInnes was debating a feminist, and she was talking about how great socialism is and everything. And he's like, name me countries that socialism works. And she's like, well, in the Scandinavian region. And he's like, oh, you mean the whitest place on the planet where they don't accept blacks as human beings? And she didn't have an answer for it. So there's obviously that owning the libs and owning the cons and everything that goes on.
Scoreboard.
Oh yeah. But so the best thing they do is this is the media tactic is call it misinformation, and therefore you don't have to go on these things. So then now the barrage is Joe Rogan gives a platform to anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, neo-Nazis, this and that. It's like, no, that's not the case. It's not at all the case. And in fact, if anybody actually listens to a Rogan podcast, instead of a couple of clips that somebody put on Twitter, you'll realize that that's what he does. He asks questions that a lot of people have, and that's why he's as popular as he is. It's that suppression of information. You notice that trucker strike that's going on right now, the convoys
in
up
Canada.
in Canada.
Joe Exotic, listen.
No, what's that?
I told Joe Exotic, tune in.
It's barely being covered.
Can we do a segment called Canadian News?
Yeah, Canadian News. Yes, Oh, no, I didn't they do that on SCTV with the McKenzie brothers?
I don't remember. You would probably.
Yeah, Bob and Dove, hello, It's we're but a couple of hosers here and drinking some Molson,
Can you do a sounder for Canadian news? And we could.
I should just play "Oh Canada" in the background.
So, okay, what's going on with the trucker?
So, well, no, the trucker convoy that's going on because of what's happening right now and they've gone from, I think one of them I saw, the convoy was stretched from Manitoba to Ottawa. It was incredible what we were seeing with these, and they're protesting against the supply chain and the mandates, restrictions that are happening in Canada. So what happened today? Because they're wondering where Justin Trudeau is, because he says they're all racists who are going out there for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, aren't they being forced to be vaccinated? And they drive a truck by themselves. No one's around them.
It's basically the safest thing you can be outside of maybe even a nurse or a doctor who has great antibodies. You're in a truck. You're going from Vancouver to Prince Edward Island. If you're in a truck, you're not even in contact with anybody. And in fact,
you're
if you're
eastbound and down going to Texarkana.
That's right. Loaded up and trucking. They're going to do what they said can't be done, and that's protest in Ottawa.
And they got a long way to go and a short time to get there. One of my favorite songs of all time, Jerry Reed. Shout out to Jerry Reed.
Shout out to Jerry Reed. And I saw a thing with Jerry Reed and Glenn Campbell. That was fun. I always go down these Glenn Campbell wormholes, and I said, that's why music today just sucks.
There's a comic named Dusty Slay that I'm friends with, known for a long time, and he's like really into country western music. He's turned me on to so many like cool little songs I would never thought I would love.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll just like hit me to a song, and I go, oh, this is fucking awesome. Like a lot of Jerry Reed. There's the song by the Charlie Daniels band, Trudy. That's a great song.
What was I think it was Uncommon. Oh, not Uncommon. What the fuck was I thinking of? There was a Charlie Daniels song that's really good. And I just love listening to a lot of that old country that, it doesn't get played anywhere. Instead, we have the fancy like Applebee's on a date night with the Bourbon Street steak and the Oreo shake. Did you hear that yesterday at the football game?
No, but I hope could you email Jim Florentine this so he could?
Oh yeah, no, I was going to read the lyrics to him. It's the worst song ever. I heard it over the summer, and my wife was in the car, and we're driving around like, this song sucks so bad. It's by a guy named Walker Hayes. So yesterday at the football game, the halftime beat with the Bengals and the Chiefs, somebody in the sound guy fucked something up where you were hearing the entire show, the halftime show that was performing there by this Walker Hayes, while the halftime show is going on for CBS. So you're hearing James Brown and Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason that are on there and talking about the game. And James Brown's like, the Chiefs have a lead right now over the Bengals. It was like 21-10. Boomer, what did you see in the first half? He's like, I didn't hear anything you just said, but so yeah, quite a game so far, guys. Because the sound, it was complete. It was terrible. It was a horrible performance.
I didn't watch it. I watched
worse.
I was doing the show. I was driving to the show, so I just caught the very end. I was like, "What the fuck? The Bengals won?" I was like,
Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. I don't like either of those teams, but I'm going to root for Cincinnati just because I hate LA. And I think we should do a big football Super Bowl spectacular this week and have like Florentine, Gino, and we do a big show. We do prop bets. What do you think?
What about Kate Quigley? Do you think we can get her for next week? She's an Ohio gal and she's a big Rams fan now. So, I mean, it kind of fits.
Go Rams. I would love to have Kate on, but I don't know if she'll come on.
No,
I don't know.
Too much stench from the MLC days.
Yeah, I kind of guilty by association, I think. But I'd like to have her on to talk Rams football. I mean, she's always saying "Go Rams" on Sunday, so
yeah, and she's in a Rams bikini. You notice that it's like new logo. It's not like she was a huge Kurt Warner fan or she was a big fan of Kevin Green back in the late '80s. It's all like the Jared Goff years.
And the Rams is such a fucking bandwagon. The fans are bandwagon. It's such a hateable team to me. It's in LA. All the celebrities love them. And it's just like the guy fucking ripped the Rams out of St. Louis to bring them there. Everything about it's hateable. I hate this team. Odell Beckham plays there.
The Rams, yeah, there's a reason football, and I mean, we could talk about this on the football podcast too, but there's a reason football never works in Los Angeles. They have
two teams.
It's like pro sports in Florida, that a lot of those people are not actually from LA and they have allegiance to the fans where they came from. So, Chad, you're from Cleveland, and of course, LeBron's a big fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's congrats, home team, Rams. Yay.
I live 1 mile from his house in Bath, Ohio. 1 mile. I don't even think it is a full mile. I think it's 0.9 miles. So if people want to ever stop by and say hello, he lives that close to me. So now he's a big Rams fan because he's in Los Angeles.
And celebrities love the Rams. Celebrities love rooting for the Rams and the Lakers. So if Cincinnati beat them in Los Angeles, it'd be beautiful. Just because I want to see misery to LA. Misery.
There's a reason. I mean, you already had the Raiders that were there. The Oakland Raiders moved to LA and they were there for 12, 13 years. Then they moved back to Oakland. Now they're in Vegas. And then you had the Rams, who were originally from Cleveland, by the way. The Cleveland Rams moved to Los Angeles in the 40s, were out there until 95. And actually, they weren't even playing in Los Angeles. They were playing at the Anaheim Stadium where the Angels played. Of course. Denver Broncos.
And this is like he's from the area and he's wearing a John Elway Broncos outfit. That's just that's a dick. That is a dickhead.
LeBron, yeah, that's LeBron for you. And his whole thing, by the way, because he grew up, he said he was a Yankee fan, which he doesn't know anything about baseball. He doesn't care. But of course, he was at when the Indians were in the World Series because that's who the team is. It's just he's not a true fan. But then remember he's holding up the Yankee hat when the Indians are playing the Yankees in the playoffs.
Well, I'll do you one better. Look at this. Google Images.
There it is.
And look at right next to it. This is when the Indians were in the playoffs. And it was cool to like Cleveland. So now he's all Cleveland. And now that's LeBron. This is who we had this.
A child is what it is.
Yeah, a child. And then he comes back to Cleveland and he's Mr. Look at this dude. This dude doesn't stand for shit.
Here's what LeBron is, because he's a child and he's an amalgamation of just whatever PR person, like, hey, LeBron, you're supposed to say this, and you're supposed to feel this way. Okay, sounds good. I'll say this. And that's all it is. And he's because he grew up, he was a big Bulls fan. And then he was a big Cowboys fan and a big Yankee fan. Well, of course he is, because what were the good teams in the 1990s? It was the Bulls, the Cowboys, and the Yankees. So of course he is. So he's not an actual
ultimate
fan
front
of
runner. He's the epitome of a front runner. There's nothing original about this dude. He is Applebee's as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, on a date night. Well, I heard you talking to Godfrey. You were talking about about how the Cavs are this year. So, of course, and LeBron's now big into the Cavs. He's tweeting about, Evan Mobley, he's doing really well, and Darius Garland should be an all-star. Shut up. I don't want LeBron anywhere near this Cavs team.
No.
Go the fuck away.
No.
This is the most likable Cavs team since the Mark Price era.
Yeah. I want Toby Altman. I want everyone. I want to like actually, you're banned from Quicken Loans Arena and you're banned from Rocket Mortgage Field or wherever the fuck it is. And the Cleveland.
Hey, Bill Squire calls it Romo Fijo.
Ugh.
I know it's beyond douchey.
Ugh.
Romo Fijo.
Yeah, that's gonna catch on.
Yeah, and also what's in a couple of weeks right now is the NBA All-Star game in Cleveland, Ohio.
That's right. Are you gonna go?
If they, I don't know. I don't want to pay for it. I should know a couple of people, using my showbiz reach, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I could try to get in for at least the celebrity all-star game.
Yeah, you know how much a scumbag Bo Matthews was about getting free tickets? You got to start working your thing. You can get free shit anywhere.
Well, I want to do that with concerts and stuff like that now that I'm a big-time management program director here.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I can actually, if I come home, I can go to a concert with you because I got connections now. I'm back to having connections in Ohio.
Look at that. Yeah, we can go to a concert. I could take you to see the Black Keys. They just announced that today.
I'm good on the Black Keys. I saw them play the Q or Rocket Mortgage, whatever the fuck it is called now. And it's a 2-piece doesn't translate well to an arena.
No.
But if they play like a small venue, I'm all in.
I saw them too with the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
That was about 10 years ago. And, I'm friends with Pat Carney's dad.
That's cool.
So he used to write for the Beacon Journal here.
That's right.
And so Pat Carney, the drummer, and who's married to Michelle Branch and has a couple of kids with her.
Look at that.
So,
and every time I hear a Black Keys song, I think of a car commercial at this point.
Yeah, because they're just all it is mainstream. That's. Although I will say, now that I've been running this alternative station for the last couple of weeks, I have found a couple of good alternative songs that they're actually bringing the guitar back, as opposed to all the synthesizers that they've been having the last couple of years. So I kind of like some of the music with guitars. Imagine that, rock music with actual instruments.
Yeah. Did you see the Chili Peppers little tease promo of Shante playing?
I did.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm in.
It's happening.
Yeah. I'm
By the way,
about that.
Speaking of radio, I want to apologize for a couple of things right now, but I believe I killed Howard Hessman yesterday.
From WKRP?
Yep, and head of the class, and the
Did
new
he die
WKRP.
yesterday?
Yeah, he died.
I didn't know that.
He died the day the Bengals went to the Super Bowl.
That is odd.
It was a very Cincinnati day. It was a bittersweet day in Cincinnati yesterday as Howard Hessman. And the reason I mentioned that, which, by the way, I said on maybe last week's or 2 weeks ago, I said Howard Hessman was from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I'm incorrect about that. Richard Sanders, who played Les Nessman, the news guy, was from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I believe Howard Hessman was like from Washington or Oregon. Somebody mentioned that they reminded me of Andy Travis from WKRP in Cincinnati because I'm a young program director. And so I decided to go down the theme song. If you get the extended theme, that is quality yacht rock.
There's actual footage of him dead.
That's Dr. Johnny Fever.
He looked like my Uncle Dan. He looks just like my Uncle Dan.
Like right now or back in the day?
Back in the day. Uncle Dan's dead too. He died.
Okay.
COVID.
Howard Hessman. So I started watching all these episodes, including the 90s version called the new WKRP in Cincinnati, where they brought in French Stewart and Tawny Katane. Yeah, not very good. But I started watching a bunch of these episodes to the point where on Friday, this past Friday, my Twitter picture is Dr. Johnny Fever.
It changed?
I changed it on Friday. I had no idea the guy was sick. I didn't know he was going to die. And Saturday I was going to get donuts. I was trying to be a good husband. And I was singing the Cincinnati WKRP. And Leah, my wife, was like, really? The WKRP in Cincinnati theme? That's what you're singing right now? I'm like, I can't stop watching and singing the song. And sure enough, yesterday I find out that he's dead. So
you think you're responsible for the death?
Yes, I am ultimately responsible. So if the authorities, if anybody's listening, what's that?
Don't you think that's a coincidence?
It could be a coincidence, or I could have, who knows? Maybe,
I believe you willed him to death.
I probably did. With Howard Hessman, and yeah, I want to apologize to the Hessman family of.
Hey, listen, they're on Patreon.
That's right. Please subscribe if you're not already to the Howard Hessman estate. I would like to go to that funeral and
see Lonnie Anderson.
Lonnie Anderson and Jan. Who was hotter, Lonnie Anderson or Jan Smithers?
Lonnie Anderson back. I mean, she looked like. I mean, she was like a.
She looked like Jane Mansfield.
She was so hot back in the day.
That was one of my early jokes too, where I said something along the lines of, what was it? I said, my mom always said, you need to find a girl with a good head on her shoulders. So I dated Jane Mansfield.
You know who else was gorgeous back in the day? Angie Dickerson.
Oh, from Police Woman.
Yeah, she was hot.
I like Jan Smithers because it brought to mind of the on Gilligan's Island. If you were a big fan of, Marianne or Ginger, and Lonnie Anderson was the Ginger. No, everyone loved Dawn Wells, and that's why I think people like Jan Smithers too, because she just kind of had that girl next door feel to her.
Yeah, well,
And then, of course, you remember who the president of WKRP was Gordon Jump.
Gordon Jump, who was also Mr. Horton, owner of Mr. Horton's bike shop.
Yep. Yeah, where Dudley and Arnold went there and got molested.
I think you and we got to start thinking big Mondays with Mazurs. I think we should branch out and we need to get into t-shirts. And I think the first one we should come up with is a Mr. Horton's bike shop shirt.
I would love that. I'd say, it's very hands-on.
There he is.
He's got the camera. Yeah.
I heard Gordon Jump got a lot of shit from this because people actually thought he was a child molester after this.
And this was 83. So that was after KRP.
Oh, this was after KRP?
Yeah, this is 80. So KRP ended in 82.
That's when he got on pizza and they start watching cartoon porn.
Yeah, exactly. They're watching Faces of Death. That's the Family Guy thing. It says, all right, I want you to scream really loud at my ass.
Then he wanted to take photos of Dudley with his shirt off.
Yeah, nothing like going from kind of a goofy character in a sitcom and then say, I want to play something different. You say, how about a child molester inside a bike shop? Perfect.
Isn't that funny? You and I hung out with this guy.
Every time he comes on the screen or is mentioned, I bring up the time about him saying that he stole Janet Jackson's virginity, or that Corey Haim was raped by Charlie Sheen. And my wife, every time, she's like, really, you're going to tell the Todd Bridges story again? I'm like, well, yeah, it's relevant. He's on the TV there. She's like, yeah, I've heard you tell that like 20 times by now.
Do you remember when he lied and he said he saw Michael Jackson with his hair on fire?
No, it was Richard Pryor.
Oh, yeah. He saw, Richard Pryor running. He was there.
He said he looked out his window and he saw Richard Pryor running down the street with his hair on fire. I'm like, there's no proof of that. There's zero proof, but okay, sure.
And he said he was doing improv at the Comedy Store. Mitzi Shore would put him up. You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck you, Todd Bridges.
Have you seen the Janet Jackson documentary yet?
Should I see it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I did see New York Times had a documentary talking about the Nipplegate, with their titty at the Super Bowl. It came out a couple of months ago.
Nipple 9/11.
Well, the whole thing was, of course, they had people on talking about how it was a racial situation where, she's just a strong black woman, and Justin Timberlake. Now, I'll agree, Justin Timberlake got off really easy on that one. But I was in high school at the time. I remember there was a memo that went out that said there were too many searches for Janet Jackson's boob on the computers on Tuesday after the Super Bowl. And I said, why would you be looking at that on Tuesday? I looked at it on Monday.
That's awesome. Dude, I'm all in on the Mr. Horton. Leave a comment if you would buy a Mr. Horton bike shop t-shirt, because I will get these made tomorrow.
Let me see. I'm just making sure that nobody has done this yet. Oh shit, there is one. There's actually a few logos right now.
Well, we can do our own. Fuck them. I didn't know.
True.
I mean, we took Rack Me from Jim Rome. We could just take it.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? These are just Cafe Press things.
Oh,
So this is just a logo that somebody put on there.
Yeah, we'll actually put fucking Gordon Jump on the shirt.
That's hilarious.
Does anybody want to design it?
Yeah. Can somebody design a with Gordon Jump or like Horton's Bike Shop, established 1983 or whenever the episode came out?
Yeah, here, like we can actually take the actual logo right here. Look, the logo's in the background here, like that font, whatever that is, and we can have rentals, sales, and we could actually do like a draw, like an Alfred Hitchcock image of Gordon Jump's face, so we don't get sued.
Well, that's hilarious. Or like Al Hirschfeld.
Yeah, I want
that is
one.
Hilarious.
We're gonna make this happen. This is one of my. I'm gonna write it down. Mr. Horton's Bike Shop T-shirts.
Yeah, write that down, and then also after you do that, I need you to pull up the Jerry from the Facts of Life in her famous T-shirt. Oh, that's another one.
I saw that like yesterday. Literally just saw that yesterday. What the fuck? It's like, sorry, I'm off mic. I don't have one of these cool Chris D'Elia, Theo Vaughn hanging mics. I like them handheld.
What about my my USB microphone that I'm finally using after buying it in 2014?
I mean, if you're in radio, you better have a good sound.
I'm just speaking into like a robot penis right now.
I just like going handheld because of stand-up.
Ooh, Orgy's coming to town.
Who?
Remember Orgy?
No.
They did the How Does It Feel? They did the rock version of the New Order song, Blue Monday.
Do you want to get these made too?
I would wear that.
I don't have cerebral palsy. I'm drunk.
She was a stand-up comic. Like, I don't know how good of one she was.
You know, Mark, our buddy Mark Price, Skippy from Family Ties.
Oh yeah, of course.
He did a mini tour with Jerry.
He's been doing that. He was doing that with Michael Winslow too.
Yeah, any way these guys can cash in on their little 80s fame, they're doing it.
I saw Bob's Big Boy commercial with I think it was yesterday actually, and I was just going down a rabbit hole and I found a Bob's Big Boy commercial with Michael Winslow where they're promoting the buffet and he's doing all the sound effects of like what Jell-O sounds like and, and what it sounds like pouring syrup on pancakes. And I'm just like, wow, he really took every job back in the day, didn't he?
Yeah. He lives in Orlando now because I see him. He's performed on all these like one-nighters that I perform at. He was just there or he's coming. And I go, why is he always, he's like, he lives in Orlando. I go, oh, okay, that makes sense.
And it's the same act he's had for 30 years, but it works and he still sells pretty well.
Uh-oh. I want to hear you in action.
Oh, yes. Rubber City Radio Group. Yellow.
This is why you sign up to Patreon, everybody.
Didn't hear anything.
There's some action for all the action. Speaking of Patreon, Tony, what's your Patreon? We're putting this one out for free. And if you could sign up for our Patreons, mine's Sit Down Zumock.
Yes, my Patreon is patreon.com/Tony Mazur. I put out a podcast today talking about the Joe Rogan versus the Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and the medical industrial complex, as I like to call it, or some others have called it. Free every Wednesday for anybody who's checking out the show. Actually, you know what? On Wednesday, I'm doing a 1-year anniversary of my podcast. It's hard to believe it's been 1 year, but it's like a clip show I'm going to put out there. So if people weren't listening in the early episodes, I've got clips from some of my podcasts I did with Daryl Strawberry, Don Jameson, the creator of who else do I have? The creator of Funky Winker Bean. A lot of cool interviews that I had at the beginning of the podcast. Not the Kevin Brennan one, but if you want to listen to that, that is one of the early episodes as well. It's actually one of the most listened to I've had too.
What, the Kevin one?
Yeah, that's Jim Stansel got everybody into listening to it several months ago.
Okay. Yeah, he's been very nice to me. Okay. Again, thanks for, I got Sit Down Zumock that comes out on Wednesdays on Patreon. And then a week later, you get it for free and you can go to Pandora, iTunes, hit subscribe, leave comments, do it all. I have a YouTube page. It's Sit Down Zumock. Hit subscribe on that. I try to put out episodes once a month for free and you get good content. And we have the football podcast, which is now the URL is patreon.com/rackme. We're going to do a big fucking Super Bowl show. And we'll get Florentine and all the favorites on for that.
I mean, we have 2 weeks to do it too.
Yeah, we could take our fucking time with it.
I kind of like these because it's not like we got to jam a couple of things. Oh, we got to go to the next game. Jacksonville is against the Chicago Bears, with the Bears 7 points. What do you guys got in that game? At least now we can actually be creative and either talk about the game, the halftime show, any news that came out. Tom Brady, I'm sure we'll talk about Tom Brady this week of is he retiring? Is he not? Did ESPN jump the gun? So we got plenty of topics to get to this week.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring it up. I was going to bring it up today, but I was like, I'll save it for the football show. I want to talk about the halftime show. I have a lot of takes on that one.
I bet.
So we'll save it for football. You can go sign up for Rack Me. We just did one with Gino's brother, Pete, last week, and it was good football talk. It was solid fucking football talk.
Yeah, no N-bombs.
No M-bombs. All right. For Tony Mazur, Mondays with Mazur, we do that every Monday behind the paywall. Please sign up, and thank you for listening. Florida's Greatest is out. Thank you, Tony.